I saw some of the some of the black guys, some of the black corpses. By black I mean African American or African or whatever. I don't know the region, but it was very surprising because in Georgia you don't have many people with dark skin. There are usually white people, and you would see some black people fighting on the side of Georgia. That gave a rise to speculations that there were some mercenaries either from Africa or maybe from the United States. My name is Oksana Boyko. I'm a reporter for Russia Today television, and it just happened by chance that I was in South Ossetia in Tkhinval when the war began, and we stayed there for 2 more weeks covering. What happened is that Georgian President Mikhail Saakashvili went on national television on the night of 7th, and he said, okay, let's hold a ceasefire. It's Olympic Games starting, let's be friends, we are brothers, and so on and so forth. And half an hour later, his multi-rocket launcher started pounding Tkhinval, and they continued bombing it for the next 4 or 5 days. I never saw, human bodies lying on the streets. I've never seen so many, body parts just scattered around. The stench of decomposing human flesh was just, you couldn't breathe. It would be okay if, men were fighting men, but what Georgians did is they just fired at women, children, the elderly. They attacked. There was one elderly home in Tkhinval, and they fired some shots at the elderly home. What kind of people would do that?
It was on CNN and Fox News that Russia has snuck attack, Russia has invaded. And so Americans thought, I was even fooled for about an hour. I turned the TV on and I told my wife in the morning, I say, my God, Russia, it says they've invaded. And I went, wait a minute. And I went in and got on the computer and was looking at BBC and even foreign press and Russian news and Saudi Arabian news. And it was like, oh, wait a minute. After they snuck attacked South Ossetia and broke the brokered peace deal from the early 1990s.
The type of weapons that Georgia used, it not just killed people, it mutilated them. I went to one of the morgues, and its director told me that when some of his doctors were delivered, their bodies were delivered to the morgue, he didn't recognize them because everybody was so mutilated by those multi-rocket systems. People got real difficulties identifying their loved ones. I heard a lot of lessons about journalists have to be balanced and showing 2 sides of the story. And in this particular conflict, I understood that that doesn't apply anymore, because I'm sure that the Western media had plenty of opportunities to get the South Ossetian side of the story. They just chose to ignore it, and they just, there were so many horrific pictures on the ground, so many human stories that you could cover, and somehow Western media just didn't care about those people.
The West is still playing the propaganda game that was used 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago by the Soviets and by the West, both engaging in propaganda. Before there was an internet, an alternative press, before so many eyewitnesses and American citizens could go on TV and say, no, the Russians were saving us. No, the Georgians were coming through and killing us. They had foreign advisors with them. Well, now that can come out, and so it's really discrediting those that want to use the United States against nations that the New World Order wants to basically have conflict with.
I think most Georgians during the time of attacks, they didn't know what was happening, and I know that we did a couple of reports about the Georgian government hiring many US spin doctors. They are paying them lots of money to put a proper spin on everything that was happening, and you have to give Georgia credit. I think in terms of
propaganda.
In terms of propaganda and informational wars, they really won it, because they have, a president who speaks fluent English. He was available for all the US networks at any
he was
time.
on TV. We're under sneak attack. Help us, help us.
And I think that's
very dastardly.
Something that the Russian government also understood. They really lost. They may have been, from my perspective, they may have been right in terms of human angle. They had to intervene. Nobody in Russia wouldn't people in Russia would not understand if Russian military would just stay still.